No cap. We ain't capping here today. Do it look like I be... Anyway. What's up, Snorter the Crew? It's yours truly, Snorter. Right now I'm gonna get into that FBG duck, the FBI files. Truth be told, man, with the whole rappermentary whole thing, these dudes be putting bull in them. Like, huh? These same stories been told so many different times. The truth. And then I get to one that's like, all right, you. I feel like you a little credible, a little bit more credible, because this is your thing. And you in the story, you saying this, and he make this sound better, but it's like, come on, the truth was decent. The truth was decent. With all that being said, we get to Chicago scene 88. I know his shit is backed with some type of shit he feel like is proof of what he's saying is good enough to display, put on a platform. Now at the end of the day, all this shit could be capped, but this is an FBI file, so a lot of this shit had to be what happened, right? So, but the finish off what I'm talking about. When it comes to his rappermentaries, he come with shit that's been posted and all that. And that's why he be able to talk on those shit. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this one.
Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all the support I received from you. And as always, all the information in my videos is rumors taken from the internet or the street. I'm not saying the information is fact.
Pick your mans up.
Yeah, that's because people used to come through shooting at us every day. Yeah, this block, words can't even explain. Can't even explain.
Yeah, man. Little School Valley, 05, Young Money. Young Money, man. They in the building.
600 boy, LA, man. LA Capone, man. Get it to him, man. OC2 boys, man. Team
Number 9, man. Number 9, the shooter, you hear me?
Hey, bitch, this little bitch. Yeah. Fuck is wrong with you? Hey, I am Brick Squad. Brick Squad, boy. Fuck is you talking about, man?
You have to be willing to die or go to jail for 100 years if that's the lane that you know what I'm saying.
How old are you?
This video will solely focus on the murder of FBG Duck, from the moment he headed to the Gold Coast until the final car returned to Parkway Gardens. I'll delve into all the available documents, scrutinize social media posts of significance, and discuss the recently concluded trial. I trust you'll find the information in this video informative and engaging. To begin with, I want to briefly tell you the background to all this. The victim, FBG Duck, was a well-known rapper from South Chicago, specifically a neighborhood called Tukaville, or STL EBT, which is located at 63rd to 64th Roads to Champlain, STL, and 63rd to 65th Eberhart to Rhodes, EBT. In the late 2000s, STL found themselves at war with O-Block, a gang that...
Like, why we hear me order some Uber Eats? Nigga starving. Hell yeah.
houses in Parkway Gardens, a gated housing complex that has become so famous that it has been listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Michelle Obama, Chief Keef, and King Von are just some of the names that grew up in Parkway Gardens. However, it is not because of the former First Lady that it became famous. Chief Keef took everyone by storm in 2012 when he released the hit songs Love Sosa and I Don't Like, which would change hip-hop forever. While Chief Keef was successful and influenced the whole world as a 16-year-old, his 2-year-older friend King Von was out on the streets committing multiple murders, some more gruesome than others. By the end of November 2012, he had caught 5 bodies and shot 10 people during his still very short career as an assassin on the street. 2 years later, in February 2014, King Von was released, and as soon as he got out of house arrest, he went back to doing the exact same thing he did before he got locked up: killing. Days after getting off house arrest, he was involved in the murder of Lil Mark from 051 Young Money. 2 weeks after that, he murdered the teenage gang girl, Shakira. And a month and a half after that, he was arrested for 1 murder and 2 attempted murders after shooting
I ain't
up a
gonna
birthday.
lie, Chicago saying you sounding for certain about the shit you just about the shit you saying right now. Not gonna bullshit you. I mean, why would they say? Why would they say yeah? But you know, a lot of people still denying this shit. A lot of people still denying this shit, man. Yeah, I'm just saying you sound hella certain.
Party. In late 2017, King Von was released after keeping his mouth shut in interrogation rooms for 3 years. It was there and then that King Von's rap career began. During the years King Von spent in prison, FBG Duck was out on the streets, but then decided to put all his energy into music and release songs continuously all these years. Make no mistake, FBG Duck was a full-worthy gang member as well. He has allegedly shot and robbed people and was not shy from mocking deceased enemies in his songs, a trend Chief Keef started in 2012 by dissing FBG Duck's deceased friend, Tuka. King Von and FBG Duck's beef didn't start when King Von became a rapper. It had already been going on for 7-8 years. They knew about each other long before the rap beef, Duck for the music and King Von for the killing. They had also interacted with each other on Twitter a few times in 2014, and probably even more times in private chats and phone calls. In 2019, once King Von's rap career really took off like a rocket, things started heating up between him and FBG Duck. This was during a period where King Von's best friend T-Roy had been murdered 2 years
And no
earlier.
bullshit, if you just sit back and just kind of remember the times.
After that, the Get Back Gang was formed, a tight-knit group whose sole goal was to get revenge on the gang that killed him, Taekwon World and their allies, Jaro City and STL EBT. 2 years later, in 2019, once King Von's rap career took off, Get Back Gang had killed multiple members, including TB, Poppy, FBG Duck's close friend Get Right, his cousin Kobe, as well as Duck's older brother Brick. King Von, leader that he was, pushed for these murders to happen. Due to all of the work King Von already had put in, O-Block listened to him and the younger members looked up to him. Von had 7 bodies on his resume, which brought respect and trust. King Von wasn't shy about bragging about this either, or the murders he ordered. After Muwop and Muna Duke killed FBG Duck's close friend, Get Right, and an innocent janitor in the midst, Von released 2 AM, where he rapped, "Muwop did him dirty, now it's hot outside." King Von quickly became the front figure for O-Block and the dissing towards STL EBT and Duck's deceased friends and brother. He even created an entire movement called Not From 63rd, which references Duck's neighborhood. Of course, FBG Duck did not accept this and deviated from his previous promotion of peace in his music and instead started releasing songs where he mocked deceased friends of King Von.
It was a dry period. It dead ass. I want to say 2018. Goddamn, that's when Slide popped off. Yeah, so that whole 2018, or was it 2017?
Escalation started when King Von released the song "Exposing Me" together with Memo 600 in January 2019. In that song, they mocked multiple dead members, including Duck's deceased cousin Lil Scrap. A month later, Duck released his version of the song, arguably a better version as well, together with his cousin JHE Ruga, brother of the deceased Lil Scrap. They mocked a dozen of deceased members of O-Block and their allies from 600, including Lil Steve, who was killed by Ruga's brother Lil Scrap in 2011. FBG Duck also mocked Von's best friend T-Roy by rapping, "T-Roy ain't get shot inside his head, but he ain't make it though." King Von and his close friend Lil Durk were also taunted in the song for dyeing their hair. In the song Jet by King Von, he rapped, "I lost my best friend, can I have saved him if I was there? That was the worst feeling I ever felt, and I broke down to myself and I cried on the steps." Von really loved T-Roy, and he hated it when people mocked him, which FBG Duck was not afraid of doing. Later in the year of 2019, a couple of months after the back-to-back mocking and respective remixes of "Exposing Me," Duck tried to go on another path, A Path of Peace, with the song Chicago Legends, where he paid tribute to enemies who passed away, including Fredo Santana, L.A. Capone, and Lil Durk's cousin Niski. However, King Von never changed his path. He kept on mocking Tuka, Get Right, and Duck's deceased brother Brick. I don't think he did it to get clout. I think he did it because he genuinely had pure hatred for them. Back in 2012 and 2014, he could only mock them on his relatively small Twitter page. Now, he had built up a huge fan base, and I think he enjoyed making fun of his enemies for the whole world to see. He enjoyed conflict. He got a boost from it. Von even used to DM Duck when he was alive, telling him that he had dissed him in his new song. He lived for this. One thing you have to understand about King Von, he is basically not a rapper. He was a serial killer who happened to become a rapper and then used the money to order more murders. Because King Von refused to stop mocking Duck's loved ones, Duck also deviated from promoting peace, especially after King Von dropped the song Took Her to the O, which is a song based on an imaginary story of killing Duck and mocking his brother. Subsequently, Duck released the song I'm from 63rd, and ultimately Dead, which many believe is the reason Duck was ultimately murdered.
No.
In the song Dead,
I don't think, because it was shit said way before that. I don't know how people got that though. It was shit been going on for years, man. That one song. Let me know what y'all think.
he continued to diss T-Roy, Odie, J-Money, Keita, Lil Steve, Sheroid, Baldy, Dethang, and Lil Boo. It was an incredibly disrespectful song, and it would also be the last Duck released, because just 1 month later we arrive at the 4th of August 2020, the date his life would tragically end. Before FBG Duck went to the Gold Coast, he first went to KFC. An unknown individual related in a police interview that Duck had called and asked for a ride to a Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant located on 75th Street. Duck went there accompanied by the unknown individual driving him. When they arrived, they parked the car, and about 5 minutes later, Duck got out of the car and instead jumped into another car driven by a female that had just pulled up. They drove off immediately. It was his girlfriend who picked him, and they drove to her residence. The person who stated this was also asked if Duck gave out his location to followers on social media at some point on the way to KFC. He didn't. Duck was very leery of letting people know of his whereabouts after receiving threats from opposing gang members in the drill rap scene. He answered. The interview then ended. At approximately they came up on August 11th, 2020.
No research.
Exactly 1 week after the murder. Duck's girlfriend stated to the police that once they arrived at the Gold Coast, at approximately 3:30 p.m., Duck went shopping at Milani Boutique, located at 50 East Oak Street, a luxury store that sells children's clothes, while she was waiting in the car outside. He bought a Givenchy t-shirt and a pair of socks for a total of $250. A few minutes later, Duck came back and got into her vehicle, which was parked across the street from Milani Boutique. The Gold Coast is considered to be one of the more luxurious neighborhoods in Chicago, and the street Duck was located at is where all the luxurious restaurants, bars, hotels, and shops are located. On East Oak Street, you can find shops such as Tom Ford, Chanel, Jimmy Choo, Christian Louboutin, and of course Dolce & Gabbana, which Duck was standing in front of when the bullets started whizzing in the air. The reason why I tell you about this is so that you understand how unusual it is that a shooting, let alone murder, happens in this neighborhood and on this street. It is one of the most touristic areas in Chicago, and the city is dedicated to keeping the area safe from gang crime. It is simply not accepted that such events take place there. The Gold Coast neighborhood belongs to Chicago's near North Side community area. I compared the homicide rate in this entire community area to Inglewood, another community area, where gangs such as Lamron, Dipset, Wooga World, Brick Squad, and others are located. From the beginning of 2018 to this day, there have been 184 murders in Inglewood, compared to the near North Side's 42 murders. And this is the entire community area, not just East Oak Street. The only shootings I can find on East Oak Street are from the 4th of August 2020 FBG Duck, as well as a shootout a couple of weeks ago involving a police officer after intervening in a smash-and-grab coupe. This data shows the rarity and how spectacular and bold the hit on FBG Duck really was.
No bullshit. I don't know about this street in particular, but I say this about Chicago. Nigga, it's cameras everywhere. Everywhere. Every fucking where. They look like traffic cameras. The GPS tell you if it's one on this side or the other side. My first time going up there, I saw that. I'm like, damn. These motherfuckers really don't give a fuck.
The girlfriend then related that she drove away from the parking outside of Milani Boutique and made a U-turn and parked in front of Dolce & Gabbana, located at 68 East Oak Street.
Man,
Duck
who
said he
fucking
wanted to make
address
a purchase
You know what? Oh no. That motherfucker going to a whole new spot.
At Dolce & Gabbana, she said. His girlfriend related that after parking outside Dolce & Gabbana, Duck got out of the car from the front passenger side of the vehicle and waited in line to enter the store. This was the time when COVID-19 was raging around and had the whole society in a chokehold. Therefore, only a number of people at a time were allowed to enter the stores, which was why Duck had to queue outside. What they didn't know at this time was that someone had been watching them the entire time, ever since they left Milani Boutique. FBG Duck may have seen them, but without recognizing them. After a few minutes, a male, black, joined the quay behind Duck to Dolce & Gabbana. This man, who was called Day Day, would later be shot along with Duck, but survived. Day Day related in an interview with police that once he joined the queue, he observed a woman who stood at the front, a black male behind her, who he did not recognize, and himself at the back. The male in front of him was FBG Duck. Day Day had no idea who Duck was according to his own statements to the police. He then related that the female and Duck appeared frustrated for having to wait in line, but after a few minutes, the woman was given permission to enter the store, which meant that Duck was now at the front of the queue. Day Day then related that he asked Duck how long he had been waiting. Duck replied that he had been waiting for about 20 minutes while eyeing Day Day suspiciously. The two did not speak again. Day Day then observed Duck talking.
Suspect ass question. How long you been here? Mind you though, it's Duck, man. He got a lot going on. Anyway, look at a motherfucker. About 5 minutes. I wouldn't even be mad at for lying. I don't know you don't.
Talking to a female sitting in a car parked on the street in front of Dolce & Gabbana, his girlfriend. Day Day related he had his cell phone in his hand and was looking at his Instagram account while standing in line. After he had waited in line for about 10 minutes and Duck for about half an hour, he observed two vehicles driving westbound on Oak Street and then stopped adjacent to where he was standing. Two other individuals who were moving around in the Gold Coast that day were Teezy from the set THF and Man Man from O-Block. Teezy is an individual with connections to O-Block, but has also a personal history with FBG Duck. The mother of Teezy's child had been in a romantic relationship with FBG Duck, which made Teezy furious, and therefore he hated Duck with a passion. The mother also acknowledged to the FBI that she had been in a romantic relationship with Duck, but was not at the time of Duck's murder. She also stated that she was heartbroken upon learning of Duck's death because she loved him. Another witness also stated that TZ's animosity towards Duck was due to jealousy, stemming from Duck's previous relationship with his baby mother. TZ and Man were the individuals who spotted Duck in the Milani boutique through the window. They then left the scene, but came back a couple of minutes later, both fitted with surgical masks, and actually went into the Milani boutique where Duck was shopping. Duck must have seen them both in the seemingly small store, but without recognizing their faces due to the masks. When Duck left the Milani boutique, TZ actually followed him while he was on the phone with Dada from THF 46,
Wait.
a known killer.
So this nigga went into the store behind this nigga Duck. It's so crazy. The nigga got in way quicker than this nigga Duck. Remember, Duck had to stand in line for what? 30 minutes?
With FBG Duck. The mother of TZ's child had been in a romantic relationship with FBG Duck, which made TZ furious, and therefore he hated Duck with a passion. The mother also acknowledged to the FBI that she had been in a romantic relationship with Duck, but was not at the time of Duck's murder. She also stated that she was heartbroken upon learning of Duck's death because she loved him. Another witness also stated that TZ's animosity towards Duck was due to jealousy, stemming from Duck's previous relationship with his baby mother.
Looking ass.
TZ and Man were the individuals who spotted Duck in the Milani boutique through the window. They then left the scene, but came back a couple of minutes later, both fitted with surgical masks, and actually went into the Milani boutique where Duck was shopping. Duck must have seen them both in the seemingly small store, but without recognizing their faces due to the masks. When Duck left the Milani boutique, TZ actually followed him while he was on the phone with Dada from THF 46, a known killer and psychopath, who is now disowned by THF for killing one of their own, Gino, in January 2021. TZ was standing outside of Milani as Duck got into his girlfriend's vehicle and pulled off, while he was reporting everything of interest.
How she didn't recognize TZ?
Dada. Here, Dada was actually smart. He understood that it is not worth the risk to do anything in the Gold Coast. Instead, he just told TZ to see what kind of car Duck was getting into.
Fucked around and said, my baby mama shit.
Immediately after this took place, TZ and Man ran to a Montclair store located on 33 East Oak Street. Here's where it gets tricky. According to several witnesses, they saw a masked man being chased by an armed...
Hold on, I gotta make sure my shit's still recording right. Ah, okay.
and masked man about 30 minutes before the murder. However, it was an illusion. What they saw was TZ running with Man behind him, possibly one of them with a weapon in their hand as a precaution. But it was perfect, since this was the exact same lie TZ told the security guard inside the Montclair store and on the phone when he dropped FBG Duck's location. The narrative fitted perfectly, since the witnesses thought they had seen it. After this took place, here Dada was actually smart. He understood that it is not worth the risk to do anything in the Gold Coast. Instead, he just told TZ to see what kind of car Duck was getting into.
Serpent told the car. I didn't know what was said on that phone call.
Immediately after this took place, TZ and Man ran to a Montclair store located on 33 East Oak Street. Here's where it gets tricky. According to several witnesses, they saw a masked man being chased by an armed and masked man about 30 minutes before the murder. However, it was an illusion. What they saw was TZ running with Man behind him, possibly one of them with a weapon in their hand as a precaution. But it was perfect, since this was the exact same lie TZ told the security guard inside the Montclair store and on the phone when he dropped FBG Duck's location. The narrative fitted perfectly, since the witnesses thought they had seen it. The witness, who was sitting in her car, also told how she saw the man chasing Teasy and that she heard his handgun jam. It never happened. I believe she confused the incident with the shooting that happened later, where Duck's gun actually jammed. Even if what she says is true, there's absolutely no way she heard it, because 1, she was sitting inside a car, and 2, it was parked on 55 East Oak Street, and the Montclair store is located on 33 East Oak Street. However, Teasy's lie, together with the witnesses' illusions and confusions of what they had seen, which was for a long time a big mystery in the story, would later be exposed.
Damn. They was in that bitch chilling. Damn, how do... When they get up with it?
Once inside the Montclair store, Teasy lied to the security officer.
So, okay, these motherfuckers ran inside the store, talking on the phone, getting recorded. Shit, do he get seen as guilty too?
No way she heard it.
He got to, bro.
Because 1, she was sitting inside a car, and 2, it was parked on 55 East Oak Street, and the Montclair store is located on 33 East Oak Street.
However,
Teasy's lie, together with the witnesses' illusions and confusions of what they had seen, which was for a long time a big mystery in the story, would later be exposed. Once inside the Montclair store, Teasy lied to the security officer and told him that he and his friend were being chased by a man with a gun, which the security officer later recounts in an interview with the police. Keep in mind, this goes against what the witnesses have said, because according to the security officer, it was 2 men who were being chased based on Teasy's story, while witnesses outside thought they saw 1 man chasing another, which in reality was Teasy and Man running with one ahead of the other. What I want to say is that it was never someone chasing another. It never happened. So what did Teasy get out of making this story up? Well, because inside the store, he called a number connected to Lil Durk's older and now deceased brother, Dethang. In front of the security officer, Teasy was now on the phone, possibly with Dethang, telling the exact same lie, that he was unarmed and in trouble, and that he had seen Duck, who then tried to kill him and sent people chasing him with guns, all kinds of lies, all to simply get shooters there as quickly as possible to kill Duck. Not because of O'Block's beef with him, but due to his own jealousy towards Duck.
Cause no, hear me out when I say this shit, bro. Every time we heard about this shit, every time we heard about the FBG duck, anything, it was always said of money. It was a hit, called hit. I'm thinking it was for money. All this shit got done for money. You feel me? The way Chicago scene painted right now, it sound like a dude mad that his baby mama moved on. He mad as fuck at his baby mama for moving on. Chicago scene, they said there wasn't even no gang ties to this shit. I'm thinking this shit was about money. This whole entire time. Money. And then dude Teasy so weird with it. And that's how far his emotions drove him. Cause he wasn't thinking right at all. He getting seen too much, getting heard too much, getting recorded too much. How the fuck they know what's said on your phone calls? You know what I'm saying? I just asked that same question earlier. Like, damn, how you know what's said? See, she moved on and got better. That's what really ate at him. She ain't just go get a slouchy ass nigga. She went and got a nigga that's him in his own right. That ate at him. That ate at him. That's crazy. Oh, hold on.
So in front of the guard, it didn't sound like he dropped the location of someone to get killed, but he did it subtly while making himself look like the victim. However, what he didn't know was that the security officer filmed the whole thing, which would later be used in court. And on the film, you heard that the security officer asked TZ if he was armed. The second TZ answered, no. You saw how his weapon fell down along his leg. When it was shown in the trial, all 5 from O Block looked at TZ angrily. They now knew TZ had been lying and that they had been played, all due to his jealousy towards Duck. Even Duck's mother, Lashina, ran out crying when she heard this. They couldn't believe it. The videotape was 6 minutes and 20 seconds in duration. I'm not saying this is all TZ's fault. O Block still chose to come. They wanted Duck badly, and I don't think they really cared about TZ. But they did care about what the shot caller told them and the money that was on the line. But maybe it would have been a different story if TZ hadn't lied. Maybe they would have thought twice. What could also be proven is that shortly after TZ's call, the number connected to D-Thang made several different calls, presumably directly or indirectly to O Block. It is unknown who received the call, but at approximately 4:02 p.m., O Block received the information, and 2 minutes later, Muap is seen jumping out of the black Ford Fusion parked in Parkway Gardens and starts running towards the nearest building and up the stairs to the apartments. On the way, he runs past Kenny Mack, who seconds later turns and runs after Muap up the stairs. 2.5 minutes later, Muap runs down the stairs, dressed in a full black outfit, followed by C-Thang, dressed in an Adidas track jacket, along with Kenny Mack, dressed in a green t-shirt, and C-Murda, dressed in all black. Seconds later, Muap was seen running out into the parking lot toward the black Ford Fusion, and first opened the rear left passenger door, but quickly closed it and got into the rear right passenger side, behind Zelmuna. Neither Lasmuna nor Zelmuna was seen on the footage in the stairwell, nor getting into the car, nor was it shown when Kenny Mack, C-Murda, and C-Thang entered theirs. However, I'm sure the FBI have footage of that as well. Much of the surveillance footage still hasn't been released.
And see how 2 people out of the 5 is seen on camera. I'm just looking at this shit. Oh, never mind. Let me shut the fuck up. Because I thought he said they ain't get shown getting in the car nor coming down
At
the
exactly
stairs.
4:06:45 p.m., the first car rolls out of Parkway Gardens, a gray Chrysler 300 containing 3 individuals, the driver Kenny Mack, the front right passenger C-Murda, and the rear right passenger C-Thang.
Man, that motherfucker ain't moved yet.
Exactly 20 seconds later, at 4:75 p.m., the other car rolled out, the black Ford Fusion, which also contained 3 individuals. The driver Losmuna, the front right passenger Zelmuna, and the rear right passenger Muap. two cars could be followed
That's
by road
crazy.
cameras from
I just talked about how the cameras is.
block all the way
Oh
to the
my
gold
God,
post.
them niggas coming down
The
the
first camera
stairs.
captures them at
The car they
4:11:13
hopped
p.m.
in.
outside a gas station at 6231 South Wentworth Avenue and entering 194 towards Oak Street. Here, the FBI also managed to read both license plates using advanced computer technology. The second camera captures them at 396 East Balboa Avenue, traveling northbound on LSD with the black Ford Fusion as the lead car. The third camera captures them at the intersection of South LSD and East Monroe Street, still traveling northbound and still with the black Ford Fusion in the front.
They pushing them motherfuckers too.
The fourth camera later captured them again, still traveling northbound on LSD, with the gray Chrysler 300 12 seconds behind the Ford Fusion. The fifth camera later catches them turning westbound onto Chicago Avenue from LSD. Now the Chrysler was close behind the Ford. Both drove calmly and used their turn signals.
Man, this shit crazy to watch. I ain't gonna lie. Play by play type shit. Shit crazy.
The sixth camera later captures them on 220 East Chicago Avenue, still traveling westbound. The seventh camera then captures them on 230 East Chicago Avenue, still traveling westbound with one car closely followed by the other. The eighth camera then captures them on 870 North LSD, now traveling northbound. The two vehicles containing 6 murderers are now only 2 minutes away from the
6.
destination.
Let me just blow. I ain't looking at it. I ain't gonna lie.
The ninth camera then catches them 1 minute after the 9th on 902 North LSD, still traveling northbound. Now you notice that they are in more of a hurry. The Chrysler switches lanes to stay behind the Ford. They are now 1 minute away from their target. The 10th and penultimate camera now captures them on 984 North Michigan Avenue, traveling westbound on East LSD. Now they are only 20 to 30 seconds away from where everything went down. It is now that we jump back to Day-Day's testimony. It is now that he observes the two vehicles driving westbound on Oak Street, and then stopping adjacent to where he and FBG Duck were standing. At precisely 4:26:30 p.m., the black Ford Fusion hadn't even stopped before the first car door swung open on the rear right passenger side. A lanky black figure emerged. It was Muop fitted with a surgical mask, firing the first shots at Duck. Immediately following Muop, Zelmuna jumped out of the car and joined in the gunfire. One of them yelled, "Yeah!" As bullets whizzed in the air, Duck instinctively ducked and turned around, only to confront a red rope, typically seen outside luxury shops. Duck tripped over the rope and fell to the ground, having been shot multiple times by Muop and Zell. Desperately, he tried to escape between two cars onto the road. From the front right passenger side of the Chrysler, Murda shot, hitting Duck's girlfriend in the left wrist as she attempted to operate Duck's jammed Glock in an attempt to return fire. Simultaneously, Thang stepped out from the rear right passenger door of the Chrysler. Duck was now trapped, with Thang standing over him between the two cars, shooting him repeatedly. The shooters then jumped back into the cars. The Chrysler was the first to drive away, followed by the black Ford Fusion. It was over in 15 seconds.
Damn.
Duck's girlfriend dashed from the car toward him, only to discover moments later that she too had been wounded, prompting her to scream in agony. Duck and his girlfriend weren't the sole victims of the shooting. Day Day, who was behind Duck in line, sustained 4 gunshot wounds to his upper body and legs. In a subsequent Instagram post shared by Day Day following his discharge from the hospital, he revealed he had required 9 units of blood due to severe blood loss and had died twice during surgery. Remarkably, he pulled through. He was hospitalized for over 24 days during COVID-19, barely able to get any visits, which just added to the pain, he said. Day Day also shared a touching message from his mother about her reaction to receiving the call. I will quote it.
I can't make this up. God is the greatest. Y'all don't know the half of the shape I was in. I lost so much blood. I needed 9 units of blood when I got to the hospital. I had 4 gunshot wounds. I died twice in surgery. Imagine a doctor telling your mom we gon' do the best we can to save him. Doing the best you can is never good enough to a mom. I'm forever grateful and thankful, and I'll never stop talking about it. Hospitalized over 24 days during COVID, barely able to get visits, just added to the pain. For the 100th time today, God is the greatest. My condolences to the other families involved.
Yes, I was there when it happened. It was so chaotic that day. The hospital was on lockdown. Everything was cut off you. When I came to the room, they were giving stats, and at first I couldn't make out who you were because you were covered in blood. But they were trying to stop you from moving. Once I saw your face, I hit the floor and immediately started praying.
So,
They asked me if I know you. I responded yes. They started asking me so many questions that I couldn't answer. I wouldn't leave you until they stabilize you. But they kept saying you weren't going to make it. Oh my God, you don't know how hard I prayed for you. I never told a soul. But just know you had a prayer warrior by your side.
that's some real shit.
I am aware that there is, or at least was, a great deal of rumor surrounding Day Day and who he is possibly related to, but that is nothing I will speculate on. Day Day was not involved in this in any way. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. What remains unknown to many is that while the 6 assailants were making their way back, the police were already aware of the vehicles they were using. They had promptly reviewed surveillance footage and gathered descriptions from numerous witnesses regarding the appearance of the cars and their direction of travel. I'm confident they tracked them in real time using the same cameras we had been monitoring earlier and relayed this information to other police units via radio communication.
Mind you, they taking the streetway. Damn, I'm recording. Oh shit. Hold on. Hey, the streetway in Chicago is the longest way you could possibly take. No bullshit. Mind you, the highway fucked up too. I ain't been to New York, but Houston and Atlanta is two fucked up places when it comes to traffic. They ain't got shit on Chicago. Trust. 2 miles is 30 minutes, bro. 2 miles.
My belief stems from the footage later captured by the camera at O-Block, which we had been monitoring earlier. It reveals something incredibly surreal. As the gray Chrysler returns to the parking lot in Parkway Gardens, a police car shows up exactly behind them, rolling in at the same pace. In the surveillance footage, Kenny Mack neatly parks the gray Chrysler in the parking lot. As 3 doors swing open, Kenny Mack, C. Murda, and C. Thang exit the vehicle simultaneously. Meanwhile, the police car halts with its blue lights flashing, and an officer begins to exit the car. However, he seems to pause, possibly receiving communication on the radio, then decides against leaving the vehicle and returns inside, closing the door behind him. The entire scenario resembled the moment in GTA when you swiftly lose your wanted level after driving into a garage.
He already knew. Unless he gonna have a whole team.
I think the police officer was instructed over the radio not to intervene. Given that at least 2 of the 3 individuals who exited the car were armed, dangerous, and had committed a murder just 30 minutes earlier, it's unclear what might have happened if the lone officer approached them. There was a genuine risk that they could have reacted with panic and potentially harmed him. I wonder if you can truly capture the emotions that the 3 individuals must have experienced in that moment when they saw a police car pull up behind them, 30 minutes after carrying out one of the most high-profile hits in Chicago's history. Even if they appeared outwardly calm, their hearts must have dropped to their feet. Next, you can track another camera feed where C. Thang and Kenny Mack can be seen sprinting across the yard. At precisely 4:57 p.m., they are observed entering a building and exiting 2 minutes later. I speculate that they washed their hands and disposed of the murder weapons. Surprisingly, they didn't bother to change their clothes, not even C-Thang, who stood out in his distinctive Adidas track jacket.
Well, these niggas are athletic. All this goddamn running. God damn. Making me sweating shit. Just watching this shit.
Next, a camera captures C. Murda running upstairs and entering the building, but he doesn't come back out. In the final scene of the released footage, Kenny Mack opens the front right passenger door, seemingly searching for something. Then he heads up the stairs toward the building, holding a black plastic bag that seems to have something hard and angular inside. As the two cars involved in the shooting were driving back toward Parkway Gardens, FBG Duck laid on the ground, waiting for medical help. Duck had gunshot wounds to the chest, back, neck, arms, and legs, and had 21 holes in his body after being shot 16 times. According to the girlfriend herself, Duck, while laying on the ground, had told her to call the police. Once police arrived at the scene and approached Duck, they asked him where he had been shot. He answered, "I'm shot everywhere. I'm shot everywhere." As FBG Duck lay on the ground, bleeding and in motion, the police made no effort to assist him. It seemed as though they were treating both Duck and Day Day as
He did say he got stuck in between a car and somebody stood over. 16 times.
if they were already deceased. The situation was surreal to witness. Despite the presence of 24 police officers cordoning off the area, none of them took action to aid the two individuals on the ground who were evidently still alive. They didn't even attempt to apply pressure to their wounds. Duck's girlfriend was the only one who received assistance. They applied a tourniquet to her wrist. As per the police scanner, 3 ambulances were requested, one approaching from Rush on Oak Street and the others from Michigan. At 4:42 p.m., 2 ambulances transported Duck and Day Day to Northwestern Hospital, just 5 minutes away from the scene. Subsequently, there was a delay before Duck was admitted for surgery. In total, approximately 40 minutes passed from the shooting to Duck undergoing surgery in ER room 176. Another interesting detail is that both victims' hands were covered with bags, presumably to preserve any evidence related to the jammed gun that had been kicked away from Duck after the shooting by a security officer employed at Dolce & Gabbana.
It's like,
I can't help but think
like
that if the person
all the odds were stacked against Duck.
involved were a politician, a businessman, or white for that matter, the response from the
40 minutes is insane. 40 minutes is insane. Especially being shot 16 times with 21 holes. The chances you make head, neck, chest, arm, the chances be slim, like all that blood getting lost. Then they waited for the surgery. What's the wait? Yeah. All the odds are stacked against
police, ambulance services, EMS, and doctors would have been a lot quicker. No matter their looks, race, criminal history, or any other factor, the primary focus should always be on aiding and rescuing the injured. At precisely 7:20 p.m., about 3 hours after the shooting, Duck's mother was notified that Duck had been declared deceased at 5:06 p.m. during surgery, around 50 minutes after the incident. Yet I believe Duck's mother received the news prior to that. However, 7:20 p.m. stands as the formal and official time as per the police investigation. Once the news came out that FBG Duck had been shot and killed, the internet exploded with reactions, mostly the part of the internet that is interested in hip-hop. But because of the location of the shooting and the victim, the news also reached to other large parts of the internet, especially those interested in true crime. Journalists, YouTube channels, and bloggers immediately set about documenting the event and trumpeting it on their channels. I myself remember when it happened. First, the uncertainty about what actually happened and whether it was really FBG Duck who had been murdered. You all probably recognize the feeling when something big has happened but the public doesn't quite know what, and the speculation flows on social media from all sorts of accounts. Once it was confirmed that Duck had been shot and murdered, first bloggers, followed by news channels, began to send out the news whose comment fields, especially among the bloggers, were filled with sadness, a feeling of loss, and last but not least, mockery. The mockery poured in, which was expected, partly because he was a rapper, but mainly because King Von had made him known as his #1 enemy. Most real hip-hop fans already knew about Duck because of his talent, but those who only listened to mainstream artists, such as Youngboy, Lil Durk, Gunna, and Young Thug, did not know about him, and if they knew him because he was King Von's enemy. The reactions from the opposing side, O Block, 600, THF, Front Street, Lamron, Taytown, and of their allies and subsets was immense. Those not involved in the assassination did not stop themselves from mocking FBG Duck. Even rappers and gang members outside of Chicago, whose idols are the members of O Block and 600, mocked Duck. One of the first to mock FBG Duck on social media was of course 600 Breezy, who immediately dropped a snippet of a song he had recorded before the murder, with the caption, "I'm supposed to not drop my song because he actually died?" Breezy later dropped the song and music video the day after the murder. In the song, which is called Stop Playin', he rapped, "You fat, them diss songs gon' get you f***ing shot. You took a few already, next time, you're as in a box." This song, which was intended as a response to FBG Duck's song Dead B***s, becomes almost scary when you know it was probably recorded weeks before the murder, especially with that last line. He also uploaded a story of the snippet where he wrote, "I spoke that shot into existence, huh?"
And see, from a content creator, internet motherfucker, that's a play. That's a play. That's a play. That's a play. Capitalizing on the moment and trying to profit for real. No bullshit. I don't give a fuck how you feel, nigga. That was the play. Alright, cool. We got that out the way. I feel like Breezy was wrong. I feel like he was wrong. Off the strength of if you had that motherfucking song in the tuck for 2 months, 3 months, Mind you, this rap shit take time. So I'm saying he probably had that motherfucker longer. Probably 4 months. And then the day he died, you get the promo in it and all that. I don't know. He was capitalized. It was a money play. It was a money play, bro. It was a money play. And I feel like he was wrong. You know? But it's always a catch-22 with this shit. Because who's not to say that 600 breezy ops, vice versa situation, vice versa. That's the catch-22 with this shit. But it's like, you know, the nigga gonna believe what he believe in. And, you know, niggas like me gonna believe what they believe in. And it was too far. Shit. If you really that good of a rapper as you think you is, you won't have to stoop to this. You know? You wouldn't have to stoop to this. If you a good ass rapper. I ain't never seen that video nor heard the song to this day.
Another famous personality and rapper who was quick to jump on the bandwagon of mocking was Tado from Front Street, who was in a video saying, "Smoking on Duck Duck Goose." Chief Keef was also in the video smiling but quickly got away from the camera. Tado uploaded several other videos on his Instagram where he dissed Duck. Another famous member, Doo-Wop from NLMB Glow Gang, was quick to go on Instagram to mock Duck. He stated in the video that he usually don't diss the dead, and that he hates people that do it. But due to the fact that Duck used to diss Capo from NLMB, he stated that Duck deserved it, and that he wished he was there to smack him while he was bleeding out on the ground. Another well-known rapper who commented after the murder was Lil Durk from Lamron. However, his post wasn't a mockery. He simply uploaded a tweet that said, "R.I.P. Newski." However, later on, Lil Durk has mocked Duck in several songs, which we will discuss in more detail shortly. I was profoundly shaken.
And now I'm thinking about it at around this time, that nigga Smirk had that, I'm in the trenches, relax. We did not play the little boy in the club, because we not listen to rats. Alright, cool, he had that going. At that time, that nigga was ascending to another level. Trust, he was ascending to another level. He really couldn't, you know, because previously, goddamn, they didn't have back and forth. Shit. When Duck used to get interviewed, they used to ask about Dirt. You know what I'm saying? Dirt used to say shit in song. So, we'll still do. It doesn't matter. Motherfucker, you know, back and forth and shit. With all that being said, the nigga was ascending to another level, and he couldn't get disrespectful. Cause I remember vividly this nigga standing there at a bus stop on some flagrant shit. Flagrant. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. The nigga, if he wanted to, he would have. But at the time, he couldn't because off the strength of what he had going. Yeah.
Shaken when I heard the news, and it's one of those moments etched in my memory. I recall being at the gym when my phone started buzzing with messages from a contact, informing me of a shooting involving FBG Duck in the Gold Coast. Initially, he wasn't aware that Duck had been shot. When such significant events occur, information spreads rapidly, and the responses followed swiftly after the initial messages. Eventually, it was confirmed that Duck was indeed shot, though his condition remained uncertain at the time. He was still fighting for his life. My heart raced as I hastily wrapped up my workout and rushed home, settling in front of the computer with my phone.
Okay, say if they would have got Duck, cause 16 shots, bro. That's some 16 shots, bro. That's some shit. It's a lot. There we go. Let me just speak properly. It's a lot. But let's say they would have got him to the hospital in 10 minutes. Would y'all think he would have survived, or y'all think the outcome would have been still the same? That's my question to y'all. Let me give you my answer type shit. I feel like with 16 shots, it ain't no guarantee with survival, bro. With all that being said, the 10 minute mark, the chances of survival would be crazier than what they were. Like I said earlier, it felt like the odds were stacked against dude. I'm talking about the whole ordeal. His odds is against him. Now he laying on the ground. Nobody's patching up these to help this blood from stop flowing out. That's how you do it. Goddamn, say if you shot at the damn near by your knee, goddamn, you tie that motherfucking tie something up by your hip, bro, to block that blood from flowing down there. Put something over the wound. Like, it's little shit you can do to help manage this shit, you know? Especially on site, on scene. You know, it's little shit you can do to manage the shit. Alright. But these folks didn't do shit. So I just feel like the survival chances would have been up. If they would have 10 minutes, it would have been up. Let's say he get to the hospital on like let's give him a good 10%. A 10% survival rate on that 50 minute. Man, that shit, I can't call it 50-50, but like 40, 35, 40, like way up. It would have been way up. Now, he said the head, neck, shoulder, chest, knees, and toes. Not to make a joke. That was real disrespectful. My bad. Anyway, they said Chicago scene said he was shot. You know, here, there. Not exactly where, though. Like, was it right here in the head, right here in the head, you know? Or right here in the head. They ain't tell us exactly where. Because that's how I'll make the same type of judgment or, yeah, if you would have survived. And I feel like I'm just rambling. My bad. This is an hour-long video.
Close by.
But I just feel like this shit need to be said, though. They said the fucking hospital was 5 minutes away. 5. 5 minutes away. Don't the ambulance dispatch from the hospital? Why the fuck would it take 30 minutes? Mind you, you niggas are emergency vehicles. Cut them loud ass sirens on. Like, I don't get it. Shit's still not adding up to me, man. You know? Hell yeah, let me shut the fuck up.
I vividly remember constantly refreshing news pages, checking Instagram stories, browsing Reddit, and exchanging private messages for updates. The news was later confirmed with images and videos of Duck lying on the ground, battling for survival. Shortly thereafter, the heartbreaking confirmation came that FBG Duck had passed away at 5:06.
If you a certain age, you can't go to certain hospitals. Like, say if you 17. I think it's 17 or 16. But let's say you 17. they not about to see you at a pediatric hospital. Pediatric. Mind you, is they're a grown ass motherfucker, but it's like, help, man. Fuck these rules. Help. Just help. Get him stable so he can get transferred to a different hospital. Like, help. They say it's checks and balances to a lot of shit. Maybe some checks and balances to this whole ambulance shit. Why they take so long? Why they it like they be so sluggish too. Anyway, maybe some checks and balances in place that I don't know. Maybe.
6 p.m. under the care of Dr. Stay, approximately 50 minutes after the shooting.
Like, you niggas know
My
what you
heart
signed
sank
up
with
for.
sorrow. FBG Duck wasn't just one of my favorite rappers, but also someone I admired
Giddy
for his
up, nigga.
personality.
Fuck.
Another
On the high.
reaction
That's what they used to
immediately
tell us.
after the murder was, of course, the hobby of detective work, which started immediately among many. The speculations and questions flowed. Which gang was behind the murder? Who were the shooters? Who was the other man and woman who were shot with Duck? Did the shooters get away? And how and when will the revenge take place? The questions were many and the speculations were even more. The main suspects were, of course, O-Block.
Nah, no bullshit though. I remember when the news first got to spreading. You know, on Instagram, I just damn near kind of just go to the comment section just to see what the people talking about on certain shit pertaining to the whole FBG Duck situation. I was reading the comments. You niggas blamed O-Block so fast. I'm like, damn. What'd he say earlier? Simultaneously. Damn near simultaneously. And then for it to come around and actually be more crazy.
After the murder, the Chicago Police Department issued an urgent safety alert. Posters were immediately put up in the area around mainly O-Block and St. Lawrence, but also other parts of the city, expressing concern over possible citywide gang war in retaliation for the Gold Coast shooting of FBG Duck. The public was told to be careful, and teenagers and young adults were warned to stay inside whenever possible and to avoid routes between King Drive and Cottage Grove south of 47th and north of 79th Street if possible. The risk for an immediate retaliation was high, and the residents who happened to live in the risk areas were afraid. In the coming days after the murder, several posts were published on social media from members of Jarrow City, STL, EBT, Taekwon World, hinting about revenge coming. However, revenge never came that week, and no other week for that matter. I think there are several reasons why the revenge never came, partly due to CPD increasing security around O-Block the same day Duck was killed, but I think it's largely due to STL EBT not having the motivation to take such risk. O-Block had both fame and money that attracted members to act and take risks, which was not the case with STL. It was like O-Block killed the last bit of hope at STL by getting Duck out of the picture. The only ones that tried to slide were Taekwon World and Emma B, but they never succeeded. However, revenge would still come a few months later, not from them, but from Lul Tim, who shot and killed King Von outside an Atlanta nightclub.
When this nigga said it was like O-Block killed the last bit of hope at STL, that shit stung. That shit stung a little bit, bro. Bruh. They got the whole little rundown though. Brick City, Black Disciples, Front Street. They even got the Wick. This shit must have been okay. I ain't gonna say must have been because it was some the police recordings came out over the walkies. It was some sorts. It was something like this, but as they was talking, they didn't get too much in detail. They was just like, "Hey, we on the lookout." They definitely did increase the awareness.
King Von has never been shy about bragging about his own kills, nor those that his friends have carried out for him. After the murder of Duck, you expected live streams on Instagram with mockery or tweets with laughing emojis. However, none of that came. One in particular that King Von loved to mention was Muwap, one of those closest to him and the only one who tried to help him the night he died. According to the investigation conducted by the FBI, Muwap has carried out several murders for O-Block. I myself have information that he was present or involved in the murder of TB, Get Right, and the innocent janitor, and of course FBG Duck. King Von loved him and trusted him with his life. In the song 2 AM, which we talked about earlier, he mentioned him. In the song Down Me, he rapped, "Duke and Muwap shoot something, got 250s, they 100, which is a reference to the murder of Get Right. I can't be alone in thinking that King Von and O-Block really tried to keep a low profile after the murder and not brag about it on the internet. At least not.
How was that a reference? 250, they 100.
Too obviously. They couldn't hold back completely, but subtly tried to claim the kill and let the whole world know it was them. And the longer time went by, the bolder they became. Another incident occurred when King Von and Muwap were at the airport. Von was live streaming on Instagram while interacting with a fan. He then directed the camera towards Muwap and said, "This Muwap, he's wild, he's got all type of bodies."
This Muwap, he crazy. He got all type of bodies. No, just playing. I know we playing.
Just hours after the murder, King Von sent out a tweet, an emoji depicting a goat, which is a clear hint of the message he wanted to get across. The next day, he also released a song with Lil Durk, All These People. The song and music video were already recorded before the murder, so there were no references in the lyrics, but the fact that they released it the next day is a clear reference to the message they wanted to get out. All eyes were on them, and of course they wanted to use that opportunity to release a song. A month after the murder, King Von mentioned Duck for the first time in a public context. He sent out 2 tweets. The first one read, "Me and Duck settled our differences right before he passed. We were talking about bringing everybody together as a whole and changing the community for the better. I'm still gonna stand on that. Every step on the way, I'm gonna be thinking of you, even though you dissed my dead homies and family." The second tweet read, "King Von featuring FBG Duck. I was gonna hold this to my album, but if you want it, I'm gonna drop it today, or hold it and put Durk on it too."
He did troll crazy. He did troll crazy.
Both of these tweets were clear mockery and foolery. He was just trolling. I don't even think the goal was to throw off the FBI, he just wanted to troll. That is what you have to expect from a man who went out of his way to be featured and interviewed in a documentary about a girl he had killed, without the production team knowing they interviewed the actual killer.
That whole paragraph, statement, sentence, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Wild. Insane, actually.
King Von has also targeted Duck in several of his songs. For instance, in the song Don't Miss, featured on his latest album, but recorded a month or two after Duck's passing, he rapped, "Duck got nailed, no hammers." In the song Demon, which was released just a week before Von's own death, he rapped, "I don't give a Duck, even if it rain, we coming through." Additionally, in the song Too Real, he rapped, "Rap beef turned to homicide, you diss then we gon' slide. He got shot, but he ain't die, psych, you know he died." In the song Chase the Bag, he rapped, "Damn, that's fucked up what happened to, I wish we would've had that sit down." Another notable occurrence was the interview between King Von and Dijo Academics, which was released just 2 days before King Von's tragic shooting. The interview lasted for 40 minutes and garnered significant attention. However, during the interview, Academics brought up the tweets King Von had posted about resolving differences with Duck. Academics also mentioned that he knew Von was trolling. Von's response was filled with lies, so I won't repeat it here. However, a few minutes later, Academics asked if Von felt saddened by Duck's passing. King Von replied, "Man, that really hurt. I couldn't even sleep at night, couldn't believe it." He then asked Academics to hold on as he put his camera down. While the camera was down, laughter could be heard in the background, and even when Von picked up the camera again, BJ from O-Block could be seen giggling. Von quickly changed the subject thereafter.
Nah, he was different.
Social media played a significant role in this homicide, both before and particularly after the incident. It was on social media platforms that members of O-Block boasted and celebrated. Later in the evening, just a few hours after the murder, Lil Durk's newly released song When We Shoot could be heard blaring from speakers in the neighborhood. Let's begin with Zell Muna's social media activity. 4 hours prior to the murder, he posted on Facebook, "I'll wet you and don't seek forgiveness," which are lyrics from G Herbo's song Ridin' With It. 3 weeks following the murder, he ridiculed Duck by posting, "Smoking dude that said T-Roy name," along with a laughing emoji. December 15th, 2020, Zell posted another status on Facebook where he wrote, "Can't duck 4 sticks."
Then the emoji was crazy. The kiss emoji was crazy.
C-Thang often went live on Instagram, where he insulted Duck. Many times, fans commented accusing him of killing Duck, leading C-Thang to promptly end the live stream. He also shared a couple of disrespectful posts, including one where he wrote "Duck" on a picture of a blunt alongside names of other deceased enemies.
They be saying all type of weird ass shit, bro. A real BDM Alabama, where that? You ain't never touched no poles. Yeah, you right. I didn't do shit.
Nigga said they ain't never touched no pole, them bitches.
Ooh, I'm off this shit.
Los Muna maintained a relatively low profile on social media, but even he shared occasional posts that could be linked to the murder. For instance, just a month after the incident, he posted a picture on Instagram alongside Zell Muna with the caption, "I think people forgot, when you beef, you gotta do some killing." Muap was the most egregious on social media among the shooters, and he also had the highest public profile. On December 18th, 2020, he released his first song, Vet, using the same beat that JHE Ruga used in his song For Duck, which came out 2 months prior. In his song, Muap rapped lines like, "The way I shoot shot, it got you grabbing for your chest," and "Face masks, case closed, gotta get them pesos." The choice of beat was a clear way to troll both Ruga and Duck. Later in 2021, Muap uploaded a snippet on Instagram where he wrote and rapped, "Dude from 63rd couldn't get back up." The story was actually shown in the documents and was used as evidence. Muap also uploaded another snippet which did not make it to the FBI documents, where he rapped, "Nah, pass the duck, it's merched, say he should have ducked, made spot news that shit was but Dude, I was on the hunt. When I spot dude, I'ma show him some. I'ma overkill him, phone him know what's up. Another interesting post that got a lot of attention was the picture Muwap posted
Now they say them lyrics can't be used in court though.
from a music video shoot
Oh, they
of
say.
the shoes he was wearing. It was a
Freedom
pair
of
of
speech.
Gucci shoes with a duck that was splashed by a water camera. Not long after the murder, Big Wani was in a live stream together with BCR Measle, where they argued back and forth and where Wani said, "My homies stood over your homie." Vaughn was also mocking Duck on Instagram just a week or so after the murder, where he said, "Ain't no more FB," followed by a smile.
Ain't no more FB.
Then of course I also have to mention the video where Boss Top is interviewed by Panda Boy Productions. In the interview, he is asked if he knew Duck. He replied, "I didn't know him like that. All I know, don't say that shit about T-Roy," or "rest in peace," followed by a laugh. However, I think this video has received a little too much attention. I don't think it played a particularly big role in the investigation. At least it was no worse than anything else that was published. As I said earlier, social media was a major factor. There is even a single paragraph called social media in the FBI documents. The document states, and I quote, "At all times material to the allegations in the superseding indictment, members of O-Block have publicly claimed membership in or association with O-Block on various social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube." The document displayed several images of the defendants sourced from their social media profiles, where they proudly claimed affiliation with O-Block, along with pictures showcasing their O-Block chains.
When it's 6. Who is that? Oh, that's
After a couple of months after Duck's murder, people began to doubt that it was O-Block who was behind it. Most people were absolutely sure it was O-Block from day one. It was very clear to us. However, many chose after a few months to come up with completely absurd theories about who killed him, ranging from the mafia to Russians and cartels. This is common, even at higher levels with worldwide events. Conspiracy theories will always exist, but I just want to warn you not to blindly believe all of this. In the same way that you should not blindly believe everything I say, even if my intentions are always to tell the truth. This also happened with the murder regarding Get Right. Just like with the murder of FBG Duck, everyone was absolutely certain from day one that it was O-Block who was behind the murder and who the shooters were. But after a while, when the murder was not solved, several different theories arose which in my ears were completely crazy. I myself remember who started the rumor about Melly from 051 Young Money killing Get Right. As soon as the theory was planted, several people jumped on the bandwagon since they praised Melly and thought you favored O-Block because you said they were responsible. This whole theory was based on a comment Get Right's sister had made. I believe that if you attach an assumption to a piece of evidence, you start to bend the narrative to support it, prejudicing yourself. It has been proven time and time again that you cannot trust what family members say. Friends and family of Duck also said that O-Block was not responsible until they were arrested. On November 6, 2020, King Von's life came to an end. A few hours earlier, before it all went down, King Von was celebrating his album release at Opium nightclub in Atlanta. After the celebration at the nightclub, he was supposed to go back to his Airbnb, but instead, he changed his mind on the way to the Airbnb and decided to go to the Monaco Hookah Lounge on Trinity Avenue. There are many around King Von who have testified that
recently it was this chick that went there and got to saying some disrespectful things. If I find the clip, I'm gonna insert it in the video. Whatever. Cool. But anyway, I just wanted to say this. Why? Why? I highly doubt she knew any party personally. Anybody in each party personally. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt the shit directly affected her. I highly doubt. I got a lot of doubts in the whole situation. With that being said, why? Now we didn't came to the conclusion. The assumption. There we go. Now we came to the assumption that goddamn this shit didn't direct you personally. Now you just look like a real clown. I don't know if the shit she was trying to get clout points or goddamn clout points, bro. This shit's crazy. They're weird. All right, let's keep it going.
he was not himself that night. If he had taken drugs is unclear, but at least after the celebration at the nightclub, he was supposed to go back to his Airbnb, but instead, he changed his mind on the way to the Airbnb and decided to go to the Monaco Hookah Lounge on Trinity Avenue. There are many around King Von who have testified that he was not himself that night. If he had taken drugs is unclear, but at least he drank alcohol in the club. When he decided to go to the Monaco Hookah Lounge, he did not notify his security and went there alone in a car with one other driver and another car with friends. Once King Von arrived at the location, he waited in his car for about 30 minutes, and his security finally got word of his new location and immediately rushed to the hookah lounge. Another person who was also at the scene was the Atlanta-based rapper Quando Rondo, together with his brother Lil Tim. King Von was sitting in his car with around 20 of his friends surrounding it. About 50 feet away from Von's entourage stood Quando Rondo outside of his car in which his brother Lil Tim was sitting. Someone from King Von's crew spotted Quando and notified King Von. Immediately, King Von jumps out of his car and walks forward with a sweeping look across the parking lot. After only a few seconds, he spotted Quando and walked towards him. Quando also saw him but moved a little insecure towards him as if he wanted to talk to Von. However, King Von being the type of guy he was, he didn't want to talk. King Von walked right up to him and started beating him up. More and more people from King Von's entourage joined the fight. It was at that point that Quando's brother, Tim, got out of the car and shot King Von 4 times in his back. Von immediately collapsed on the street and got a death grip on Quando to use him as a human shield. In the same second, either Slutty or BJ from O-Block shot Tim in the leg, but when it was time to finish him, the gun jammed. 2 off-duty cops were also present at the scene. When they heard the shots ring off and saw Tim getting shot, they immediately returned fire. The first couple of shots missed, and Slutty, BJ, Boss Top, and Louie started running, without knowing where the shots came from. Slutty and Louie were both caught in the crossfire. Slutty was killed on the spot, and Louie was rushed to the hospital in critical condition with a gunshot wound to his head. Both BJ from O-Block and King Von's manager got shot in the leg. Once Quando Rondo understood that King Von was shot, he started yelling that King Von was shot. King Von still had a strong grip on Quando because Tim was still laying on the ground behind him with a gun in his hand. One man that never left King Von was Muwop from O-Block. who is now locked up for the murder of FBG Duck. Muop was unarmed, and even though King Von's killer was still on the ground with the weapon in his hand, he approached Quando and knocked him out twice to get him off Von. Once he got him off, a black Audi pulled up and they put Von in the back seat and sped off to the hospital. King Von was, after several operations in an attempt to save his life, tragically pronounced dead in the hospital. FBG Duck's associates, primarily gang members, were visibly jubilant upon learning of King Von's death.
Jubilant.
Each of them...
No. Hold it, Chicago saying. Jubilant. Jubilant. Great Gatsby ass word. Anyway, feeling or expressing great happiness and triumph.
Made disrespectful posts and celebrated with a party.
Feeling real jubilant tonight.
However,
Are we?
Duck's mother had a different perspective. She posted on Facebook, expressing, "I sincerely hope that child makes it through. No mother should ever experience the pain of losing a child." In September 2021, Duck's mother recounted a touching moment in the park. As she was there, a little girl suddenly ran up to her and hugged her legs. When Lashina asked whose pretty little baby it was, she was told it was King Von's daughter. "I started shaking," Lashina said. On December 23, 2020, 2 days before Christmas, C-Thang, Zell, and Big Woney dropped a song together. I believe this was the first song C-Thang and Zell did. The song was called Jump Out, and in the text they hinted several times about their involvement in the murder of Duck. Keep in mind, this was only 5 months after the murder, which proves how bold they became over time. C-Thang opened up by rapping, "Man down, no ambulance, his ass died, his mama crying, don't give no fuck, we still sliding, and we got the low, better not be dangling cause it's a go, time to up the score, hit him 9 times, long live Jado." Zellmana followed up that line by rapping, "We ducking from the cops, another body drop." The release of this song by Zell and C-Thang indicated their involvement. While Big Woney was already established as a rapper, neither C-Thang nor Zell had previously released any music. It's one of those subtle shifts that's difficult to articulate, but when a prominent member is killed, especially among the younger ones, you often see a surge in confidence and status, particularly on social media. You could immediately sense a change in C-Thang and Zell's status. They weren't just ordinary members anymore. They had elevated to a new level. It's hard to put into words, but after following the scene for so long, you pick up on these things, often by observing how respected shooters adjust their behavior towards them. The same transformation occurred with Muop after the incident in 2018. He garnered more attention, carried himself differently, and even gained mention in King Von's songs, which isn't something given lightly. This phenomenon is widespread across all sets in the city and mirrors the hierarchical structure seen in the military. Later, on April 2021, Muop dropped the song For Real, where he rapped, "Gotta wear all black when it's time to do a drill. Keep a 10 with a switch, man, this is not concealed. I'll shoot this in public. Give a about how they feel. And when I merch it, you know I catch it. We hopped out, it was that." On January 11, 2021, the FBI received a tip from a caller who stated that he can provide information regarding the murder of FBG Duck. The caller, who is known as Trench's News on YouTube, invited the FBI over to his residence, where the interview...
See, I ain't know that about Buddy. He volunteered. That's what it sounds like. Wait, hold up. Didn't it come out that this nigga been doing this for the longest? Yeah, it did.
Took place. Trench's News, or Swipper as he is also called, was shown a video of Duck's murder as well as photographs provided by an FBI special agent of individuals from the O-Block Black Disciples faction from Parkway Gardens. Swipper identified several individuals whose names are redacted, and of which one individual he described supported Oblak with drugs and firearms purchases. He then related that this individual would receive profits from these drug sales and reward Oblak members with jewelry and vacations. Swipper then identified Charles Liggins as C. Murda, or Lil Charles, and stated that he was an original Oblak member and that his brother, Sheroyd Liggins, was shot dead by STL. He then went on to identify Marcus Smart as Muwap and stated that he had conducted several murders on behalf of Oblak. He also identified Los Muna as an Oblak member with family ties to the Black Disciple leadership. He then went on and identified Kenny Mack, C. Thang, and several other members whose names are blacked out. Before the interview ended, Swipper told the FBI that he was willing to meet with them again. On August 24, 2021, Zell Muna tragically ended his own life by shooting himself in the chest. While there's much speculation about why, I believe it's not just one factor but a combination. Factors could include his relationship issues, the loss of friends and family over the years, living in poverty, the impact of Duck's murder, and perhaps the awareness that he was being monitored by the FBI. Zell Muna's final status read, "My head everywhere." Zell was listed in the FBI documents as one of the shooters, but could not be prosecuted for obvious reasons. On October 13, 2021, it happened. The FBI conducted mass arrests of members from Oblak who were involved in the murder of FBG Duck. Los Muna, C. Thang, and C. Murda were arrested in Parkway Gardens by federal agents. Muwap was arrested at O'Hare Airport, Delta Terminal E, which is an international airport in Chicago. Kenny Mack was not arrested per se since he was already locked up in Cook County. According to reports, all arrests took place peacefully. There were no fights or drama connected to the intervention. I also want to mention one more thing about Kenny Mack's previous charges before he got arrested for Duck's murder. Kenny was on bail at the time of the murder awaiting trial in a 2019 case that involved 9 weapons-related felony charges, including multiple counts of being a felon in possession of a firearm while on parole. That parole, which he was also on at the time of the Duck's murder, was for armed robbery, state records show. He had been in jail since February 21, 2021, the day Cook County prosecutors charged him with murdering a man and shooting 2 women in Dolton. Prosecutors said during a bond hearing that Kenny and another gunman opened fire on 31-year-old Lorenzo Moore and a van the 2 women were sitting in after a confrontation at a makeshift club. Moore's body had 27 bullet holes. Soon after the arrests, Duck's mother, Lashina, went live on Instagram and announced that the FBI had apprehended the individuals responsible for her son's murder. She shared her mixed emotions, expressing both happiness and sadness, and tears welled up as she spoke. The reactions following the FBI's arrests of the defendants were immense. It was the moment everyone had been anticipating. While there wasn't a great shock regarding the identities involved, as all the names had been leaked earlier by internet sleuths who traced the cars used in the murder, it was still unsettling to see the names officially documented as the ones responsible for FBG Duck's death. Bloggers and various YouTube channels, including myself, swiftly shared the news, leading to widespread dissemination. Additionally, newspapers such as CBS News and Chicago Sun-Times published multiple articles about the murder and the arrests. Upon seeing the names, I wasn't surprised, but it was nonetheless eerie to realize that I had correctly identified 3 out of 4 shooters. This revelation irked many who had accused me of lying when I released the video back in November 2020. On the day of their arrest, an initial hearing commenced for
That's one of the reasons we fuck with Chicago scene over here. We take the shit with a grain of salt. We move on with our we move on with our day/life after we watch this shit. After we receive the information. Just when it get confirmed elsewhere on some legal documents, it's like, oh, you got a track record now. We can fuck with that. You ain't saying just anything. The shit calculated. You use your brain with your shit.
4 of the defendants. Prosecutors pushed for all 4 to be held without bond, citing them as threats to the community, with a high risk of fleeing and potentially facing the death penalty. All 4 defendants pleaded not guilty and attempted to present themselves as innocent and non-threatening by claiming to hold regular 9-to-5 jobs. C. Murda, despite his unfortunate name, informed the judge that he worked at both Corner Bakery and Popeye's Chicken. Los Muna stated he worked as a dishwasher. However, Muap made perhaps the most surprising claim, especially given his reputation in street circles. He asserted he worked as a janitor at a church. I was taken aback when I read this, unsure if he was serious or simply trolling. I also recall the response when this information was posted on Reddit, where the top comment with the most upvotes simply read, "Janitor killer maybe." For those unfamiliar with the background, Muap is rumored to have been involved in a double murder on June 15, 2018, where he and Muna Duke allegedly killed Getright from STL EBT, as well as an innocent bystander who was working as a janitor. This individual was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. The murder was captured on surveillance footage, showing Muap as the lone shooter targeting the janitor before turning his gun on Getright. The murder of FBG Duck marked the second instance where Muap appeared on surveillance footage in connection with a homicide. On April 10, 2023, Ralph Turpin, also known as Teasy or Tall, was apprehended by the FBI in connection with the FBG Duck murder case. As previously mentioned, Teasy was identified as the individual who, along with Man from O-Block, disclosed Duck's whereabouts. Moments after the shooting, Teasy ventured outside and walked up the street to inspect the scene. A witness later reported to the police that she saw 2 individuals walking, with one of them speaking on the phone and remarking, "He didn't even notice me." These individuals were identified as Teasy and Man. For those unfamiliar, Man is a known snitch from O-Block who previously cooperated with authorities, implicating Rage from O-Block in a murder case for which Rage was subsequently sentenced to 71 years. It's highly likely that Man also provided information about Teasy, which in the end led to his arrest.
I mean, if he do it once, he'll do it again. That was crazy. How that shit just came full circle.
Between August 4th, 2020 and October 13th, 2021, the FBI allowed the involved members to remain free while gathering evidence. This is typical FBI procedure. If they arrest you, it's because they're confident they have enough evidence to secure a conviction. We've covered a lot of evidence presented in the trial, such as CCTV footage and online content, But there's more to explore. The CCTV footage available online is of lower quality compared to what was shown in court. The trial featured HD resolution footage with zoomed-in views of faces, clothing, and other important details. One of the biggest pieces of evidence was, of course, those connected to the cars used in connection with the murder. On August 5, 2020, the day after murder, the police seized Kenny Mack's gray Ford Chrysler 300, which was parked at 2141 Gunderson.
You know what? I'm a car nigga. That just blew me. Gray Ford Chrysler. Shout out to the car niggas. They know what I'm talking about.
In Berwyn, Illinois. Inside, they found several crucial pieces of evidence pivotal to the case. Among these findings was a shell casing that matched ballistic evidence from the scene. Additionally, they discovered a note in the car containing login details for social media accounts belonging to C. Murda. Furthermore, C. Murda's behavior on the jail phones was noteworthy. Despite being incarcerated, he continued to exert influence, as recorded conversations reveal. He instructed someone after his arrest to inform Duke that everyone should acquire new phones. Additionally, he remarked on jailhouse phones that the case against them was weak because they wore masks, and he downplayed the significance of the surveillance footage showing them leaving O Block before the murder. The FBI also retrieved 2 weapons linked to the shooting: FBG Duck's Glock 19 Gen 4 9mm, and one of the actual murder weapons, a Springfield Armory M1A XDS 9 9mm, with the latter being particularly significant in the evidence. On August 18, 2020, the black Ford Fusion, which was driven by Los Muna, was located at 7300 South Harlem in Bridgeview, Illinois. Los had bought the car with cash using fake bank and CPN information. The purchase went through, but once they actually investigated the paperwork in detail, they noticed the provided information was fraudulent. After they figured this out, they actually called him and asked him to return the car. However, what makes this so stupid, not only is the fact that he used his own car on a hit, but also that Los already knew that he would have to return the car before he knew that he would use it in the murder of FBG Duck. However, once the Ford was actually located by the FBI, it had already been cleaned from top to bottom and resold to another customer. Also, the reason why only one car was seen rolling onto O Block on the camera surveillance after the shooting was precisely for this reason. Los went to return the vehicle and was then picked up with Muwab and Zel Muna, 2 of the shooters, after calling his girlfriend to come and get them. Although no forensic evidence was found in the car, the dealership had cameras, and despite Los providing false bank statements, the car could still be linked to him. Before the arrest took place, a YouTuber had managed to obtain information that the car was registered to him, meaning he must have still been using his own name. If a YouTuber could find this out, imagine how quickly the FBI must have known. Blood was also discovered on the hood of one of the cars parked at the murder scene on 70E East Oak Street. Prosecutors stated that the blood belonged to one of the shooters. According to them, the shooter had been lightly grazed by one of the bullets fired by Duck's girlfriend. However, the wound was likely so minor that the shooter did not require medical attention. Another intriguing aspect of the investigation is the connection of one of the murder weapons to other cases. It was linked to 2 homicides, Duck's murder and another incident in H Block, where the victim was shot in the neck on May 15, 2020, and passed away due to the injuries on December 22, 2020. Additionally, the same weapon was used in 4 separate assassination attempts, one in O Block, one just outside Front Street, one in Touch Money, and one in Boco territory.
It's the Springfield, huh?
Another significant aspect of the evidence
That motherfucker was a dirty ass gun.
is the connection of one of the murder weapons to other cases. It was linked to 2 homicides, Duck's murder and another incident in H Block, where the victim was shot in the neck on May 15, 2020, and passed away due to the injuries on December 22, 2020. Additionally, the same weapon was used in 4 separate assassination attempts, one in O Block, one just outside Front Street, one in Touch Money, and one in Boko territory. Another significant aspect of the evidence was Kenny Mack's numerous blunders, which, combined with Teezy's involvement, led to the downfall of all 6 individuals. On August 4, 2020, Kenny Mack was actively texting another individual while en route to the Gold Coast to carry out the murder. He instructed this person to hold off on returning a gun because they were, in his words, on duck right now. After the murder, he also directed the same individual to check Spot News and sent an Instagram post about Duck's murder. Kenny Mack notably used his own car in the crime, the Chrysler 300 registered to him. This prompted what seems to be a family member to message him saying, "I know you ain't take your car to go do this shit." He responded, "Unsend that shit." However, the situation worsened as the day after the murder, Kenny's...
It sounded like Kenny Mack was once again thirsty. Really, the other nigga was thirsty too. So both these niggas, I mean, because earlier he presented it as the Teezy niggas overselling the situation, which could lead to these niggas thirst, but it's like, come on, bro. Come on. Common sense will tell you, bro. Common sense will tell you. You gotta... Both you niggas use your own car. Y'all ain't just got no stolen shit that's sitting around. This shit crazy.
Chrysler 300 was seized by the police. Over the next 2 days, Kenny had his girlfriend call the detective handling the case numerous times in an attempt to retrieve the car. She made at least 12 calls, asking questions before ultimately giving up. Kenny even called himself, pretending to be someone else while speaking to detectives. Another intriguing detail involves Teezy's actions on the phone. Following the murder, he messaged his ex-girlfriend, who had a past relationship with FBG Duck, sending her 3 laughing emojis. The girlfriend was listed as witness 4. Many speculate about Lil Durk's potential involvement in the murder. Personally, I am convinced he had no direct or indirect role. However, FBI documents refer to him as Individual E and note that he is the younger brother of the deceased D. Thang. The documents also mention that multiple witnesses will testify to Individual E's high-ranking position within the Black Disciples and his affiliation with the O-Block-aligned Black Disciple faction, Lamron, during the period relevant to the superseding indictment. In the time since FBG Duck's murder, Lil Durk has mocked him in numerous songs. In the song, Should've Ducked, he rapped, "Ain't no quick run to the store, they pop out, fire you up, I told my PO through the gate that I get high as f***. She asked me how high do I get, I told her high as duck." In another song, Still Trappin', featuring King Von, he rapped, "Bro slide with a COVID mask," and "Goose goose, he overgassed." The FBI is undoubtedly aware of Lil Durk's association with O-Block. However, whether this connection could result in an indictment remains uncertain in my view, unless new evidence emerges. Durk likely has been involved in other incidents, particularly concerning seeking retribution for his brother's death and supplying firearms to the block. Only time will reveal what lies ahead. After being detained by the FBI for nearly a year, they finally scheduled a trial date, October 3rd, 2023. The FBI had 4 informants assisting them with the case. Trenches News, Man from O-Block, FBG Butta from STL EBT, and 1 additional unidentified individual. I'm sure the FBI also had other members who provided information, especially one who was interviewed as early as August 18, 2020, just 2 weeks after the murder. On the day before, August 17th, the FBI informed detectives that an individual, whose name is blacked out, was in Chicago police custody at the 005 district for an unlawful use of a weapon arrest. The FBI related to the detectives that this individual had pertinent information in regards to the murder of FBG Duck. The next day, 2 detectives interviewed this individual who related that Duck was creating rap music that disrespected deceased Black Disciple members. The individual then stated that King Von, whose name is redacted, offered $50,000 as a reward for anyone who killed Duck. He then related that King Von increased the reward to $100,000. After the murder, he told that King Von purchased custom-made necklaces for O-Block BDs responsible for the murder of Duck. He also stated that Kenny did not want a necklace since he was a Dipset GD. Most of the information provided by these informants revolved around identifying individuals in the camera footage, outlining the gang structure within O-Block, detailing the hierarchy, and recalling past murder cases. According to the FBI, O-Block held meetings to discuss internal affairs, such as violence against its own members and plans to target rival groups. Trenches News mentioned that these meetings occurred weekly or bi-weekly, with members required to pay $20 dues at each gathering. Failure to pay resulted in interest charges. The collected funds were allocated for various purposes, including memorials, funerals, bail money, and purchasing firearms. Man corroborated this, indicating that only shooters and drug dealers were invited to these meetings, during which weapons and drugs were distributed among O-Block members. The FBI received intel indicating that O-Block enforced strict rules, with members facing consequences, such as organized beatings, for violating them. These violations were discussed during meetings. According to Man, the leaders of O-Block included Boss Top, referred to by law enforcement as Individual A, Duke, referred to as Individual B, BJ, referred to as Individual C, Defendant C Murda, and King Von. The most intriguing information from the informants pertained to past murder cases. According to FBG Butta, King Von was responsible for shooting him in the knee and killing Jakira Barnes on April 11, 2014. He also recounted witnessing the murder of his friend Dale from STL EBT on December 3, 2011, saying T. Roy and D. Rose were responsible. Additionally, the document mentioned the murder of Reezy from O-Block in August 2010, although the details were redacted. Similarly, the murder of Shiroid, linked to STL, was discussed. King Von's song Crazy Story was referenced, albeit with much of the context redacted, suggesting it's based on a true incident. Notably, the documents mentioned Get Right, although all surrounding details were redacted. The fact that his name is written down in this investigation says a lot.
Took about 2 months. Wait a minute. So this nigga, if this was Butter writing this shit down, right? It was 2 months.
After just over 2 days of deliberations after the trial ended, on January 17th, a federal jury convicted 6 reputed gang members of the brazen killing of rapper FBG Duck on the Gold Coast. Muwap 24, C Thang 24, Kenny Mac 30, C Murda 32, Los Muna 32, and TZ 34 were all found guilty of murder in aid of racketeering and conspiring to kill Duck. Muwap, C Thang, Kenny Mac, C Murda, and Los Muna were also convicted of using a firearm during the commission of the murder, but their verdicts were split. C Murda, an alleged gunman, and Kenny Mac, an alleged getaway driver, were found guilty of shooting Duck's girlfriend and using a gun in the attack, but they were acquitted on the same charges relating to the shooting of the other victim. Muwap, another alleged shooter, and Los Muna, the second driver, were convicted of wounding that victim and using a gun in the shooting, but they were found not guilty of the counts related to Duck's girlfriend. C Thang, another alleged shooter, was not convicted of any charges related to the 2 victims who survived. FBG Duck's mother, Lashina, expressed happiness and relief after the verdict was concluded. She insisted the verdict marked the downfall of the O-Block faction that warred with her son's gang set. Knowing that they will not do that to another family brings me comfort. Knowing they will not terrorize anybody else, she said. They're done, the whole crew. O-Block and everything of it is done. She added, I could never want another mother to feel like this, to see their child shot down in the street like a dog. They had FBG Duck death parties. That's how much it meant to them. On Wednesday, she and her loved ones said they were planning a much different celebration, a Justice for Duck party, which also happened. Immediately after she, family, and friends came out of the federal courthouse, she went live on Instagram and told them that they will pop champagne and celebrate the outcome. Recently, Duck's mother issued a new statement, revealing that the police have identified 2 suspects in the murder of her other son Brick and his cousin Kobe, and assured that arrests will follow. My guess is Cap and the now deceased Mikado. Both are actually already confirmed to have been involved. Duck's mother has stated that Cap was implicated in the murder, and recently the family was informed by detectives that the other offender recently died, meaning Mikado. The reactions after the defendants were found guilty were rather muted. All the bloggers, including myself, naturally shared the news, but there wasn't much surprise. It was widely expected that they would be convicted. Statistics show that 9 out of 10 cases investigated by the FBI result in guilty verdicts, so it wasn't particularly shocking that this case followed the same pattern. Charles Liggins, also known as C Murda, will get his sentence on August 6, 2024. Kenneth Robertson, also known as Kenny Mac, will receive his sentence on August 8th. Marcus Smart, also known as Muwap, will get sentenced on August 13th. Ralph Turpin, also known as Teasy or Tall, will get sentenced on August 15th. To Carlos Offord, also known as Los Muna, will be sentenced on September 4. And finally, Christopher Thomas, also known as C Thang, will receive his sentence on September 17th. My belief is that they will all be sentenced to life without parole. They will definitely spend the next 6 decades in a prison cell with their freedom taken away from them. The tragic part of all this is that Duck had 4 kids, C Murda has 5, Los Muna has 4, TZ has 3, and Kenny Mac has 1. The result is 17 children who have to grow up without a father.
Yeah. 17 is crazy. Niggas was getting busy.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Shit. I mean, I can't say he lying in this motherfucker video. He had the FBI little redacted shit. He had all this shit. I knew one day the truth was gonna come out. Off of the location of where everything happened, and once I saw how Chicago looked for the first time, I was like, this ain't gonna be the end of this. That ain't gonna be the end. And sure enough, niggas got convicted for it, or found guilty on the shit. So, yeah. I'll leave the video saying this. RP Ducks. Put a Gatorade in the comment section if you made it to the end. Boy Snorm gone.